In our previous videos of Old and Middle English, we have discussed that those ages are also known as Dark Ages or the Barren Ages. Why? Because there was 100-year war between France and England, and due to war, people were afraid, they were not writing, everything was limited to religion. So, due to war and epidemics, there was no development and improvement in those ages. So, today we are going to discuss the Renaissance age, which we also say the golden age of literature, because this is an age where things changed a lot. We will start with the basic meaning of Renaissance, that what is meant by Renaissance. Renaissance basically mean rebirth, revival, or reawakening. What does it mean? It means that there was rebirth of the subjects like art, literature. People were strong economically, socially, academically. So, Renaissance is also known as the golden age of literature. Why? Because there was a lot of improvement, there was a lot of development. Previous ages are dark ages, and this age is a improvement toward the previous ages. Renaissance is also known as Elizabethan or the Jacobean Age. The time period of Renaissance basically start around 1400 to 1700, and this is also known as Elizabethan or Jacobean. Why? Because Elizabeth I ruled from 1558 and ended in 1603, and also James I ruled from 1603 to 1625. So that's why these are known as Elizabethan or Jacobean age. If we talk about the main theme of Renaissance age, so the main theme of Renaissance age was humanism. They were focusing on humanity. People were giving importance. Before, in previous ages, there was no importance for human. But in Renaissance, they were focusing on humanism. Number one, equality. That everyone is equal. There will be no discrimination on the basis of caste, color, creed, and so on. It means that everyone have the equality, everyone can enjoy equal rights. Secondly, freedom. Everyone will have freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and so on. It means the most important theme is humanism, and that's why it is known as golden age. Human beings were given importance in this renaissance age. So it's very important point to remember. Next, we will talk about the characteristic of the Renaissance age writings. What are the famous characteristic of the Renaissance age? So number one is love for adventure. The people love to adventure in the Renaissance age. We will take an example forward and we will discuss that example in detail to clear all these points. Second is desire for unlimited power and wealth. We will take an example of Dr. Faustus, that he have a lot of knowledge, he have a lot of wealth, he have a lot of power, but still he desire for more. Third is freedom of thought and action. Yes, we have discussed already that in humanism everyone have the right to have freedom of religion, thought, action. Everyone is responsible for their own action. Now we will see one of the most important thing of any age, which is famous genres. What were the famous genres of the Renaissance age? We will discuss them in detail. Number one is drama. Before we have seen that in Middle Age or in the Old English time period, no drama was there. So now in this age, there was a rebirth of drama. So, if we talk about the main themes of drama, so the main themes include revenge. There was revenge. Second is internal conflicts were there. Third is good and evil. Good side were shown to and bad side were shown to the society. Third is tragic comedy. Tragic things were also there, funny things were also there. So these are some of the famous characteristic of drama, and one of the most important is supernatural. Supernatural include gothic fiction, if you know. It includes supernatural elements like ghosts, witches, haunted houses, etc. So these are some of the famous characteristic or the themes of the drama of the Renaissance period. So, next, the second famous genre of the Renaissance age is court mask. What is court mask? Court mask is basically a performance which is basically performed in the king's court, and it is the combination of poetic drama, song, dance, and music. And all the participants who perform this in the king's court are basically wearing the mask, and this performance basic purpose is to entertain the people sitting inside the court, especially the kings and the queens. So this is court mask, which is also a famous genre of the Renaissance age. Third famous genre of the Renaissance age was indeed the prose. Prose does not follow any specific structure like poetry. It is written in more everyday language. So prose was also a very important genre of the time of Renaissance period. We have already discussed that in Old English there was prose too. So prose was also there. Number four is a poetry. Yeah, poetry was another famous genre of the time of Renaissance period. If we talk about the main theme of poetry, so it include love, it include love for nature, or it also include the nature, and satire was there. So these are some of the main themes of poetry. And poetry, sonnet was very famous in the Renaissance age. So poetry was one of the highly valued genre of the Renaissance age. It showcased variety of poetic expressions and themes. Now we will discuss some of the famous poets and their famous contributions in the time of Renaissance. Number 1 is Edmund Spenser. Edmund Spenser was one of the most famous writer in the time of Renaissance age, and his most famous work is The Faerie Queene. Basically, he wrote this epic poem for the Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth I. He was very much impressed by her holiness, temperament, chastity, courtesy, friendship, justice. So he wrote six books on her holiness and all the themes which I told you. So Edmund Spenser wrote this Faerie Queene for Queen Elizabeth I of England. Second famous writer of the time of the Renaissance age was John Milton. The famous work of John Milton is Paradise Lost or The Paradise Regained. Basically, Paradise Lost was published around in 1667, and it is also an epic poem. We tell the story of Adam and Eve, the fight between good and bad, and so on. So, this was also a famous work of the Renaissance time, John Milton, Paradise Lost. Third famous work and third famous writer of the Renaissance age is known by all of us is William Shakespeare. Famous work of William Shakespeare at the time of Renaissance was Romeo and Juliet. Romeo and Juliet basically love each other, and even their families hate each other a lot. Their love for each other was unended, and they secretly married, and their love was tested by a lot of unfortunate events. So Romeo and Juliet is one of the most famous work of the time of Renaissance, and even now people love this a lot. This play is very famous. If you understand Renaissance age, so don't forget to subscribe my channel, like this video and comment if you have any questions. So fourth famous writer of the Renaissance age was Christopher Marlowe, and his famous work was the play named as Dr. Faustus. I am mentioning only some of the famous writers of the Renaissance age. There were a lot, and I am mentioning some of them. So, Dr. Faustus was another interesting play of the Renaissance age. Basically, when the story starts, Dr. Faustus is in study room. This showed that he was a scholar. Dr. Faustus was master of four subjects. He was having 100 over 100 in four subjects. The subjects include law, theology, medicine, and philosophy. And according to him, no one was greater than him. But desire for more power, more knowledge, more wealth, he started to use black magic, which destroys his career. So, this is a very interesting story you must have to read once in your life. Fifth famous writer of the Renaissance age was John Donne. John Donne was very famous for his metaphysical poetry. One of his famous work is The Sun Rising. Basically, in The Sun Rising, he was in his room with his lover, and sun rays were disturbing him from the window of his room. So he was talking to the sun as if he is a person. Basically, he was scolding the sun that why he is disturbing him and his lover because they were sleeping, they were enjoying their time, and he called to the sun and say, "Go and disturb the kings, the huntsmen, and the schoolboys. Don't disturb him and his lover." So this was another famous work of the Renaissance age. So, this was all from my side of the Renaissance age. We have discussed the history of English literature, video number 3, and this is about Renaissance age. If you like my video, subscribe my channel. Don't forget to like the video. Thank you so much.